Hi everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie, and today I am bringing you a scrapbook process layout. And this is another one of the layouts in my vacation album. As you just saw, I am using a sketch, or at least I'm starting off with a sketch, and then it's going to kind of morph into something on its own. But yeah, we're going to use the sketch. I will try and link the blog that the sketch is from in the description below. However, when I went to look for it, I couldn't find it. So I did access the sketch through Pinterest. So sometimes things disconnect. And anyways, it'll be there for you to look at. At the very least, you can see the sketch in the video. So the first part on this sketch, the main part, is this really large circle. So I pulled out an oldie but a goodie. Yes, my Creative Memories circle tool. Now, if you have something like a silhouette or another die cutting machine, you could easily cut this out, you know, using that machine. I'm just a little lazy when it comes to the machine. It's much easier for me to grab something less mechanical to cut things out. So that's why I went that route. I'm using a collection from Bo Bunny. It's an older collection. I don't believe this is available anymore. It's from 2011, so it's pretty old. But really any sort of tropical kind of water theme would work for something similar. And as you can see, it's coming together really quickly for the first little bit because I am pretty much following the sketch, except my orientation of the photos is a little bit different. So on the original sketch, the 4x6 was vertical and the 3x4 was also vertical, I think. Or maybe it was, anyways, whatever. It's not important. So I've just switched that up a little bit to make it work for the photos that I have, and I'm just going through my collection of paper here that I've pulled aside, and for the embellishment in the bottom left hand corner, I decided to go with a circular element, and I'm going to use that for my journaling. And so I just used another one of the Creative Memories circle cutters to cut the circle out of one of the cut apart sheets, and we're just figuring out exactly where I want to lay that. And then I'm also using some of these stickers from the Bo Bunny kit, and I mess up here, and the circle didn't lay exactly flat, and then it wouldn't peel up, and so I just kind of made it work. And I have a little tiny bit of a gap when I lay this on, and it's going to drive me crazy, but I will come up with a way to cover that up. So I guess that's a takeaway from this is, you know, you can almost always make a change or cover up what you think is a mistake. So, you know, don't fret too much about things like that. I'm pulled out this tag. I think this was also from the collection. And I'm going to put my title on the tag using these Kelly Perky alphabet stickers in this orange. And I'm just going to title it our Hangout spot. So I believe I mentioned in the previous video that we got upgraded to the club version of this all-inclusive resort, and that we hung out for the most time at the club pool. And that's exactly what these photos are of. It's of the pool and the swim-up bar, and basically this is where we spent probably 6 days out of the 7 hanging out by the pool. So these stickers are pretty tiny, so I'm just using it, my little paper piercer to help me transfer those onto the tag. I don't know, my fingers are just too big, I guess. Fat fingers. Yep, so we're just going to lay that down, and it takes me a little while, you know, got to get it positioned just so, and then it never seems to be just so. I don't know, do you guys ever have that happen where you spend all this time and then you think you've got it and it's still crooked? At which point then I just say, fine, whatever, and I move on. So yeah, so this just says our Hangout spot. Real, you know, fancy title there. So at this point, I'm really starting to, you know, think about how I want to embellish this, right? And so usually when it comes to embellishing, that's probably my most difficult part of the layout. I don't have any problems with, you know, laying down the paper, the photos. I can usually come up with a title, be it not altogether too too creative, but I can come up with something. So then I usually, focus on those items, focus on the journaling, make sure all those key elements are down, and then I go back and look and see at what I can do for embellishing. So I'm writing quite a bit about our trip, the first few days, that kind of thing, and about this pool and how we hung out here. Nothing really, too terribly exciting, but stuff that I want to remember. And this has been 7 years since I've been. I really do wish I would have written more journaling at the time, more in the moment journaling. I think it would be a little bit more meaningful if I had that. Unfortunately, I didn't. And especially when I'm at an all-inclusive resort, it seems silly to journal. I don't have a problem when I'm traveling, like going from, like when I was in Spain and, every day we were doing something different. It was much easier to journal about that. But when you're at an all-inclusive, your days kind of meld into each other and it's kind of like, well, what do I write about? But I think if I ever go again, I will have to try and be a little bit better about that. I struggled with putting in a tie on this tag. It has one of those 2 slot openings, and I tried doubling it up and just doing a normal, just a normal loop through pull, but it looked kind of bulky and awkward, so I ended up tying a bow instead. So I really do want to use this umbrella chipboard piece because I think it goes with, being by the pool. I also have these rubber pieces. I think these are from maybe Studio Calico. Either that or they're from Freckled Fawn, one or the other. And I thought laying it there along the edge of that circle would help would help mask the little bit of a gap that I have. And I'm running into a little issue with this little tiny sliver of orange that's between the photo and the tag. It just feels very awkward to me. And I'm not sure what I can do to fill that spot so that it doesn't look so awkward. So I tried putting in one of those rubber pieces, didn't like that. I'm trying this sticker to see if that will work. But what I don't like about the sticker is that you see how it's got that band of color and it kind of stops in the middle, and I feel like it's just going to cause another problem. So put that back in. So then I went back, looked through my paper, and I found on this cut apart sheet this section of green that I thought, I can use it just as another layer behind there and close up that gap and, make it a little less blocky or awkward. And I do like that quite a bit. And then it brings more green in. I do have some green in the sticker around the journaling box, so I think that will work just fine. And I think because the green extends out and connects with the tag, it gets rid of that awkwardness. At least that's what it feels like to me. Anyways, it feels better. So I'm going to try and use these palm fronds again, trying a few different positions where to place them. Still not quite happy with it, so I'm going to leave it and I'm going to move on to embellishing the right hand side. Now on this sketch they have 3 circles on the bottom right hand corner, and so I thought what I could do was use 3 of these square floral elements on the cut apart and use those along the edge. Now I think my photo came down a little bit too far, so I don't really like the 3 along the bottom edge, like according to the photo. See how it is? It's a little squished, and I don't really like that. So then I thought, well, what about if I go up along the edge of the photo? But that's too tall, so I didn't like that either. So then I was like, where can I put the 3 elements? So you see me here just kind of moving them around and trying to tuck them in little places and hopefully where they make some sense. And I like that. It kind of forms a very small visual triangle over the photo. So, it kind of frames them a little bit. It is a very tight triangle, but it's still a triangle. Anyway, so I do like that. As you can see, I glued those down. So usually once I know that I'm pretty happy with where something is going to live, I will try and glue that down. And every now and then it bites me a little later on when I want to slide something underneath. But for the most part, you can usually pull stuff up. So I do like the palm frond there, so I'm going to add some glue to the back of that. This is Tombow Mono glue, And I seem to be having some success with this. I haven't had any issues with them coming up after the fact. So that's kind of been my glue of choice. Now these palm fronds do bend quite a bit. They're quite flexible. And so I'm using that to my advantage. And what I wanted to do or made this look like was that they were coming out of the tie of the tag. So it looked like they would perhaps be tied in with that bow. And I really like how that works. And then that covers up that gap between the photo and the tag. I shouldn't say covers, it bridges it and connects the two a little better, which is quite nice. And then with the green behind it, it's not so in your face and it's a little more subtle. So with the Bow Bunny collection, there were some buttons and some brads, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use those or not, but I had a quick look to see what I could do with them. They also had some frames, I think, and I don't think I'm going to use any frames on this one. So we added the umbrella down. I did add some glue behind that because I find chipboard is notorious for not sticking very well. There's also this floral element. It's like a hibiscus flower, and we're going to kind of just top that. Place that over top of the palm frond just to kind of connect it a little better, so it doesn't look like the palm frond's just laying there. Unfortunately, because it's on top of the rubber piece, it's a little wobbly, and so we're just going to add I'm just going to add a little bit of foam behind it to give it a little bit of support. And you can see I'm using stamp blocks on top of the images that I've glued down, just so that there's some added pressure and that I get good adhesion to the paper. So that's the point behind that. And I just looked one more time on the chipboard piece to see if there's anything else that I wanted to add. And I think that's pretty much it. So I like the way this turned out. I love the use of the big circle. I'm kind of on a circle kick lately. And yeah, so I'm going to show you some of the photos up close. And until next time, happy crafting.